Hey guys, Rob out here, and ImAlwaysInHotWater.com. Actually, brought one of the boats home today with me to get it cleaned up and sea trialed. And what we got out here is it's an actual 2002 Sea Pro 180 dual console, but she's titled as an 01 out of Florida. And if you guys can see right there, hull ID ends in 02, so it's titled as an 01, but she's an 02 Sea Pro with a 2007 MSO'd Suzuki 4-stroke DF140, just out of East Coast Marine for service, and she had 36 hours, and I'm going to put a few hours on her. So figure by the time of sale of this vessel, you'll probably be around 40 hours. I have the receipt for that previous work that was just done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this vessel out on the water real shortly. You can tell I'm tired. But what I'm going to do is just give you guys a basic walkthrough. It's a brand new axle on the trailer. The trailer's had some work. I'm going to deem the trailer in good condition. You got a new jack stand, although she's not a flip up, as you guys can see. And also it could use a new set of lights. I could probably fix the wiring, but I'm just really not in the mood to do so. So winch looks good, and as I'm going to kind of walk through the vessel, you have bottom paint. I'd probably say the bottom paint can be freshened up next year. You're fine for now. And as I walk through the vessel itself, it seems to be in, pretty good condition cosmetically, as much as you would expect for a 2002 model. I'm going to point out to you guys, you got a little chip right here by the gas that could use to be filled right down to the glass. Probably somebody trying to get an anchor in. And you also got one right here, so you can see that. So she could use a little bit of work. I can see back here, not getting the fender out in time, which will probably be me in about 15 minutes. And as I walk through the back of the vessel, we look good. And you guys can see here, somebody had named the boat Serenity at some point, and that could probably use to be cleaned up. That'll probably buff right out. Also up on the windshield, there's a little bit of tape for where there was a for sale sign on this. But overall, she's pretty good. I'm showing here, you guys can see, I just ran this through the car wash real quick, and she cleaned right up. Now, up on the port side, I don't know what's going on here. It looks like somebody just didn't get that fender out and kind of scrap the side of the dock. I don't know if this was just silicone fill. Oh yeah, that's all it is. It really isn't that big of a deal. I could probably buff most of that out. But overall, a pretty solid vessel. She's clean, she's neat. Obviously she could use a tiny bit of work. I could probably have her looking perfect within a day. Maybe two if I put the filler in on a couple of those little spots. But honestly, that stuff doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, then don't even, don't look at the boat. Turn off the video right now and move on to something else, because it's not even going to be a discussion. I'm showing you right up front. The brackets look good. Like I said, there was work done on the trailer. As you guys can see, brand new axle, brand new tires, hubs, and that was all just done recently. That was about $800 worth of work that was done. And as you guys can see, I also have this guide pole. She seemed a little loose, so for travel from Beaufort, I just kind of tied her up, but I'll tighten that down. Overall, inside the vessel, let me get my shoes off. As you would expect, nothing fancy, all pretty cool. I kind of just tried to run through the functions of the boat. I did notice that the Garmin, which is honestly dated and should be replaced with a depth finder or something, isn't working. But then again, I went underneath and there's no fuse, so that could be the case there. But as you guys can see, that sunscreen, it's worn out, so this may help for a little bit, but I'd replace that. The transducer in the back is in place, so really most of the wiring, so you're fine there. On a boat like this, I'd probably just go depth finder. Here up on the panel, I can't really quite tell which is which, but I've kind of bounced through some of the switches, which would be the bilge, Actually, we have, if you turn the key, working lights. Which one is it? There it is. Working lights in the boat. I got the forward nav to come on. I think that in the rear of the boat, I think that needs a new bulb. But then again, maybe I just didn't find the switch right. I'm going to take this thing out on the water. I know East Coast Marine just had it on the water and she ran great, but basically I want to see what gauges work. I already know the volt gauge works. I know the gas gauge doesn't work. And I think the RPM gauge works, but the miles per hour gauge doesn't work. Once again, if you go over to a proper Garmin, you can get your miles per hour and everything along there. As I go through, you guys can see forward cushion's in really good shape. No tears, no rips. You have plenty of storage up underneath on the bow, up in here, as I showed you in the pictures. You also have storage up underneath this seat. One snap is broken. The cushions are in, decent shape. I just gave them a quick scrubbing. They still, these are starting to get a little dried out on top. But other than that, I mean, it's just a great little fishing vessel. Plenty of storage on, starboard and port. Chairs are clean. Cushions are clean. Once again, 2002, they're in the condition that I would expect. The bimini's in great shape. It's nice little seating arrangement here because you can actually dual console 2, a few people up front, a few people in the back. So I'd probably say solid 6 people comfortably, which is what it calls for. And you got to see at a 175 horsepower, you have plenty of power on this vessel to go. Rod holders, live wells up over here. I couldn't get the live well pump to come on, so let's just assume you need a live well pump. But then again, I'm going to try it in the water. Overall, real nice boat, real clean. Trail is decent. It's not great. The interior of the vessel is nice. It's in, clean, in the exact condition as you would expect it. And I think she's a good boat. I like the bow rails, especially with the shorter gunnels. And if you have kids up in this area, there's an anchor that comes with this vessel. There'll be a few fenders, a few lines. I think you could really do a good job. You can see new marine water fuel separator. You guys can see everything's pretty much up to date. I just fueled her up with non-ethanol. I think there's been a mix of high octane and non-ethanol in this vessel. And once again, like I said, by the time this vessel gets sold, it will be probably at about 40 hours. So I think, other than a few cosmetics, nicks and dings that I showed you, a gauge and, a fuse and, a couple things you might want to make your own, I think you got a pretty nice boat here. 180 DC in demand, easy to pull with my Tacoma. And, not too big, not too small, 6 people, plenty of room. And what we're going to do is we're going to take her out of the water and we're going to see what she's got. So Rob out here at ImAlwaysInHotWater.com. Keep in mind, we have a Florida title. So when registering, if this is going to stay in a title state, the only thing you're going to have to do with your paperwork is, especially if it's going to be in South Carolina, to put on the back of a South Carolina. How you can fix this is simply by taking a stencil of that and a picture of the motor number, and then put that on the form and submit that by mail or in person, which I always recommend, and you will get a title for motor and title for boat. And I think we have a readable VIN, so I can bill a sale the trailer as well. And in South Carolina, that doesn't make a difference, but yeah, I can get that readout. But if you're going to be in North Carolina or Georgia with this vessel, to make it easier to register it, or you just got to go down to the sheriff's department and get a homemade tag. So anyway, Rob out here at ImAlwaysInHotWater.com with just a real solid little 2002 C Pro with a MSO 2007 DF Suzuki motor. 40 hours just out of East Coast Marine to get the motor up to date, and hopefully that'll help you guys out. Rob, wishing you wow, I am tired. Safe boating day. You guys have a good one. Bye.